Okay. Good morning, friends. Welcome to our day 7th reading of ongoing book. Start with why. So we are reading number chapter 6, the emergence of trust. So, oh my goodness. Okay. So far we have read till the page number 110, the ongoing with the emergence of trust, chapter number 6. Let's continue from today and we can complete this chapter by end of the day. So who would like to start with? Okay, I will start with, please you type your name that in the chat section so that I can do the warm transfer oil going. Give, I'm a cathedral. Consider the story of two stonemasons. You walk up to the first stonemason and ask, "Do you like your job?" He looks up at he looks up at you and replies, "I have been building this wall for as long as I can remember. The work is monotonous. I work in the scorching hot sun all day. The stones are heavy and lifting them day after day can be backbreaking. I'm not even sure if this project will be completed in my lifetime, but it's a job. It pays the bills. You thank him for his time and walk on. About 30 feet away, you walk up to your second stonemason. You ask him the same question: "Do you like your job?" He looks up and replies, "I love my job. I'm building a cathedral. Sure, I have been working on this wall for as long as I can remember. And yes, the work is sometimes monotonous. I work in the scorching hot sun all day. The stones are heavy, and lifting them day after day can be backbreaking. I'm not even sure if this project will be completed in my lifetime, but I'm building a cathedral." What these two stonemasons are doing is exactly the same. The difference is one has a sense of purpose. He feels like he belongs. He comes to work to be a part of something bigger than the job he's doing. Simply having a sense of why changes his entire view of his job. It makes him more productive and certainly more loyal. Whereas the first stonemasons would probably take another job for more pay. The inspired stonemason works longer hours and would probably turn down an easier, higher paying job to stay and be a part of the higher cause. The second stonemason does not see himself as any more or less important than the guy making the stained glass windows or even the architect. They are all working together to build a cathedral. It is this bond that creates camaraderie, and that camaraderie and trust is what brings success. People working together for a common cause. Companies with strong sense of why are able to inspire their employees. Those employees are more productive and innovative, and the feeling they bring to work attracts other people eager to work there as well. It's not such a stretch to see why the companies that we love to do business with, that we love to do business with are also the best employers. When people inside the company know why they come to work, people outside the company are vastly more likely to understand why the company is special. In these organizations, from the management on down, No one sees themselves as any more or any less than anyone else. They all need each other. When motivated by why, success just happens. It was a turn of the century version of the dot com boom. The promise of a revolutionary new technology was changing the way people imagine the future. And there was a race to see who could do it first. It was the end of the 19th century, and the new technology was the airplane. One of the best known men in the field was Samuel Pierpont Langley. Like many other inventors of his day, he was attempting to build the world's first heavier than air flying machine. The goal was to be the first to achieve machine powered, controlled manned flight. The good news was Langley had all the right ingredients for the enormous task. He had what most would define us the recipe for success. Langley had achieved some renown within the academic community as an astronomer, which earned him high ranking and prestigious positions. He was secretary of the Smithsonian Institution. He had been an assistant in the Harvard College Observatory and professor of mathematics at the United States Naval Academy. Langley was very well connected. His friends included some of the most powerful men in government and business, including Andrew Carnegie and Alexander Graham Bell. He was also extremely well funded. The War Department, the precursor, the Department of Defense, had given him $50,000 for the project. A lot of money in those days. Money was no object. Langley assembled some of the best and brightest mind of the day. His dream team included test pilot Charles Manley, a brilliant Cornell-trained mechanical engineer, and Stephen Balzer, the developer of the first car in New York. Langley and his team used the finest materials. The market conditions were perfect, and his PR was great. The New York Times followed him around everywhere. Everyone knew Langley and was rooting for his success. But there was a problem. Langley had a bold goal, but he didn't have a clear sense of why. His purpose for wanting to build the plane was defined in terms of what he was doing and what he could get. He had a passion for aeronautics since a very young age, but he did not have a cause to champion. More than anything else, Langley wanted to be first. He wanted to be rich and he wanted to be famous. That was his driving motivation. Although already well regarded in his own field, he craved the kind of fame of a Thomas Edison or Alexander Graham Bell, the kind that comes only with inventing something big. Langley saw the airplane as his ticket to fame and fortune. He was smart and motivated. He had what we still assume in the recipe for success plenty of cash, the best people, and ideal market condition. But few of us have ever heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley. A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Olively and Wilbur Wright were also building a flying machine. Unlike Langley, the Wright brothers did not have the recipe for success. Worse, they seemed to have the recipe for failure. There was no funding for their venture. No government grants, no high level connections. The Wright brothers funded their dream with the proceeds from their bicycle shop. Not a single person working on the team, including Orwilly and Wilbur, had a college education. Some did not even finish high school. Was not any different from Langley or all others trying to build a flying machine. But the Wright brothers did have something very special. They had a dream. They knew why it was important to build this thing. They believed that if they could figure out this flying machine, it would change the world. They imagined the benefits to everyone else if they were successful. Wilbur and Orville were true scientists, deeply and genuinely concerned about the physical problem they were trying to solve, the problem of balance and flight, said James Tobin, the Wright brothers' biographer. Langley, on the other hand, was consumed with acquiring the level of prestige of his associates like Alexander Graham Bell, fame that he knew would come only with a major scientific breakthrough. Langley, Tobin said, did not have the right passion for flight, but rather was looking for achievement. Anyone would like to continue?
I can read.
Yeah, Mansi, please.
Orville and Wilbur preached what they believed and inspired others in the community to join them in their cause. The proof of their commitment was self evident. With failure after failure, most would have given up, but not the Wright brothers' team. The team was so inspired that no matter how many setbacks they suffered, they would show up for more. Every time the Wright brothers went out to make a test flight, so the stories go, they would take 5 sets of parts with them because they knew that's how many times they were likely to fail before deciding to come home for the day. Then it happened. On December 17, 1903, on a field in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the Wright brothers took to the sky. A 59-second flight at an altitude of 120 feet at the speed of a jog was all it took to usher in a new technology that would change the world. Remarkable as the achievement was, it went relatively unnoticed. The New York Times was not there to cover the story. Driven by something bigger than fame and glory, the Wright brothers were content to wait to tell the world. They understood its true significance to the world. What Langley and the Wright brothers were trying to create was exactly the same. Both were building the same product. Both Wright brothers and Langley were highly motivated. Both had a strong work ethic. Both had keen scientific minds. What the Wright brothers team had that Langley did wasn't luck, it was inspiration. One was motivated by the prospect of fame and wealth, the other by the belief. The Wright brothers decided the human spirit of those around them. Langley paid for talent to help him get rich and famous. The Wright brothers started with why. Further proof Langley was motivated by what? A few days after Orville and Wilbur took flight, Langley quit. He got out of the business. He could have said, "That's amazing, now I'm going to improve upon the technology." But he didn't. He found the defeat humiliating. His own test flight had landed in the Potomac River, and the newspapers all made fun of him. He cared so much about what others thought of him, he was so preoccupied with becoming famous. He wasn't first, so he simply quit. Innovation happens at the edges. Dream teams are not always so dreamy. When a team of experts comes together, they often work for themselves and not for the good of the whole. This is what happens when companies feel they need to pay mega salaries to get the best talent. Those people are not necessarily showing up because they believe in your why. They are showing up for the money. A classic manipulation. Paying someone a lot of money and asking them to come up with great ideas ensures very little. However, pulling together a team of like minded people and giving them a cause to pursue ensures a great sense of teamwork and camaraderie. Langley pulled together a dream team and promised team riches. The Wright brothers inspired a group of people to join them in pursuit of something bigger than each member of the team. Average companies give their people something to work on. In contrast, the most innovative or organizations give their people something to work toward. The role of a leader is not to come up with all the great ideas. The role of a leader is to create an environment in which great ideas can happen. I'll read this line again. The role of a leader is not to come up with all great ideas. The role of a leader is to create an environment in which great ideas can happen. It is the people inside the company, those on the front lines, who are best qualified to find new ways of doing things. The people who answer the phones and talk to customers, for example, can tell you more about the kinds of questions they get than can anyone sitting in an executive suite miles away. If the people inside a company are told to come to work and just do their job, that's all they will do. If they're constantly reminded why the company was founded and told to always look for ways to bring that cause to life while performing their job, however, then they will do more than their job. Steve Jobs, for example, did not personally come up with the iPod or iTunes or the iPhone. Others inside the company did. Jobs gave people a filter, a context, a high purpose around which to innovate, find existing status quo industries, those in which companies fight to protect their old fashioned business models, and challenge them. This is why Apple was founded. It is what Jobs had and Wozniak did when they started the company. And it is what Apple's people and products have done ever since. It's a repeating pattern. Apple's employees simply look for ways to bring their cause to life in as many places as they can, and it works. It is not the same and many other companies. At many other companies that define themselves by what they do instead of why they do it, instruct their people to be innovative around a product or service. Make it better. They are instructed. Those who work for Apple's competitors, companies that have defined themselves as computer manufacturers, come to work to develop more innovative computers. The best they can do is add more RAM, add a feature or two, or as one PC maker has done, give people the option to customize the color of their computer casing. This hardly qualifies as an idea with the potential to change the course of an industry. A nice feature for sure, but not innovation. If you're curious as to how Colgate finds itself with 32 different types of toothpaste today, it is because everyday people come to work to develop a better toothpaste and not, for example, to look for ways to help people feel more confident about themselves. Apple does not have a lock on good ideas. There are smart, innovative thinkers at most companies. But great companies give their people a purpose or challenge around which to develop ideas rather than simply instruct them to make a better mousetrap. Companies that study their competitors in hopes of adding the features and benefits that will make their products better are only working to entrench the company in what it does. Companies with a clear sense of why tend to ignore their competition, whereas those with a fuzzy sense of why are obsessed with what others are doing. The ability of a company to innovate is not just useful for developing new ideas, it is invaluable for navigating struggle. When people come to work with a higher sense of purpose, they find it easier to weather hard times or even to find opportunities in those hard times. People who come to work with a clear sense of why are less prone to giving up after a few failures because they understand the higher cause. Thomas Edison, a man definitely driven by a higher cause, said, I didn't find a way to make a light bulb. I found 1,000 ways how not to make one. Southwest Airlines is famous for pioneering the 10-minute turnaround, the ability to deplane, prep, and board a plane in 10 minutes. This ability helps an airline make more money because the more the planes are in the sky, the better the company is doing. What few people realize is that this innovation was born out of struggle. In 1971, Southwest was running low on cash and needed to sell one of their aircraft to stay in business. This left them with three planes to fly a schedule that required four. They had two choices. They could scale back their operations, or they could figure out how to turn their planes around in 10 minutes. And thus was born the 10-minute turnaround. Whereas most other airline employees would have simply said it couldn't be done, Southwest people rallied to figure out how to perform the unprecedented and seemingly impossible task. Today, their innovation is still paying dividends. Because of increased airport congestion and larger planes and cargo loads, Southwest now takes about 25 minutes to turn their planes around. However, if they were to try to keep the same schedule but add even 5 minutes to the turnaround time, they would need an additional 18 planes in their fleet at a cost of nearly $1 billion. Southwest's remarkable ability to solve problems, Apple's remarkable knack for innovation, and the Wright brothers' ability to develop a technology with the team they had were all possible for the same reason. They believed they could and they trusted their people to do it. Okay. Anyone wants to read this from here? The definition of trust. If no one is there, I can continue. Okay, I'll continue. The definition of trust. Founded by Sir Francis Baring in 1762, Baring's Bank was the oldest merchant bank in England. The bank, which survived the Napoleonic Wars, World War One and World War Two, was unable to survive the predilection for risk of one self-proclaimed rogue trader. Nick Leeson single-handedly brought down Baring's Bank in 1995 by performing some unauthorized, extremely high-risk trades. Had the proverbial winds continued to blow in the right direction, Leeson would have made himself and the bank extremely rich, and he would have been hailed as a hero. But such is the nature of unpredictable things like the weather and financial markets. Few dispute that what Listen was doing was anything more than gambling. And gambling is very different from calculated risk. Calculated risk accepts that there can be great losses, but steps are taken to either guard against or respond to an unlikely but possible outcome. Even though an emergency landing on water is unlikely, as the airlines tell us, they still provide us life jackets. And if only for peace of mind, we are glad they do. To do otherwise is a gamble few airlines would be willing to take, even though the actuarial tables are heavily weighed on their side. Leeson strangely held two positions at Bearings, ostensibly serving as both a trader and his own supervisor, but the fact is not interesting given the subject matter. That one man had such a tolerance for risk that he could create so much damage is not very interesting either. Both of those are short-term factors. Both would have ended if Leeson had either left the company or changed jobs, or if Bearings had assigned a new supervisor to oversee the operations. What is more interesting is the culture at the bank that could allow these conditions to exist in the first place. Bearings had lost its why. The culture at Bearings was no longer one in which people came to work inspired. Motivated, yes, but not inspired. Manipulated by the promise of massive payouts for performance, for sure, but not inspired to work in the best interest of the whole. As Leeson reported in his own account of how he got away with such risky behavior for so long, he said it was not that others didn't recognize that what he was doing was potentially dangerous. It was worse than that. There was a stigma against speaking out. People at the London end of Bearings, Leeson explained, were all so know all that nobody dared ask a stupid question in case they looked silly. In just scroll up. Arey, Rajesh, is he having a network issue again? I can't see
No, no,
the.
you can't see. 1 minute.
Can't-
I think sharing is 1 minute. I think even sharing is stopped.
Okay,
1 minute.
okay.
Wonderful.
Anyone wants to read?
Yes, Mansi, I can now.
Okay, great. Take over then.
From here, lack of a clear.
Yeah, yeah.
The lack of a clear set of values and beliefs, along with the weak culture that resulted, created the conditions for an every man for himself environment, the long-term impact of which could yield little else than disaster. This is caveman stuff. If the people are not looking out for the community, then the benefits of a community erode. Many companies have star employees and star salesmen and so on, but few have a culture that produces great people as a rule and not an exception. Trust is a remarkable thing. Trust allows us to rely on others. We rely on those we trust for advice to help us make decisions. Trust is the bedrock for the advancement of our own lives, our families, our companies, our societies, and our species. We trust those in our community to care for our children so we can go out to dinner. Given the choice between two babysitters, we are more likely to trust a babysitter with a little experience from the neighborhood than one with lots of experience from far away. We would not trust someone from the outside because we don't know anything about them. We say, the reality is, we don't know anything about the local babysitter either, beyond the fact that she's from the neighborhood. In this case, we trust familiarity over experience with something quite important, the safety of our children. We trust that someone who lives in the community and more likely shares our values and beliefs is better qualified to care for the most valuable thing in our lives over someone with a long resume but from an unfamiliar place. That is pretty remarkable. It causes some pause when we consider how we hire people. What is more important, their resume and experience, or whether they will fit our community? Our children are probably more important than the position we want to fill at the organization. Yet we seem to exercise a very different standard. Is there a false assumption at play here as to who makes the best employee? Yes, scroll up, please. Historically, trust has played a bigger role in advancing companies and societies than skill set alone. Like the couple leaving their children while they go out on a date for the evening, groups from within a society would go off with confidence, knowing that their homes and families would be safe upon their return. If there were no trust, then no one would take risks. No risk would mean no exploration, no experimentation, and no advancement of the society as a whole. That is a remarkable concept. Only when individuals can trust the culture or organization will they take personal risks in order to advance that culture or organization as a whole. For no other reason than, in the end, it's good for their own personal health and survival. No matter how experienced, no matter how proficient, a trapeze artist will not attempt a totally new, death defying leap without first trying it with a net below him. And depending on how death defying the trick is, he may insist on always having a net when performing the trick. Besides its obvious advantage of catching you if you fall, the net also provides a psychological benefit. Knowing it is there gives the trapeze artist the confidence to try something he has never done before or to do it again and again. Remove the net, and he will only do the safe tricks, the ones he knows he can land. The more he trusts the quality of the net, the more he will take personal risks to make his act better. The trust the circus management gives him by providing him a net is probably afforded to other performers too. Soon all the performers will feel confident to try new things and push themselves further. That collection of personal confidence and personal risk results in the entire circus putting on a much better show. An overall better show means more customers, and the system thrives, but not without trust. For those within a community or an organization, they must trust that their leaders provide a net, practical or emotional. With that feeling of support, those in the organization are more likely to put in extra effort that ultimately benefits the group as a whole. I will admit that there are always those who will take the risk for the first time or repeatedly without the net. There will always be those who will explore regardless of who is home holding down the fort. These people sometimes earn their rightful spots as the innovators, the ones who pushed further, the ones who did things no one else would do. Some of them may advance a business or even society, and some of them end up dead before they achieve anything. There is a big difference between jumping out of a plane with a parachute on and jumping without one. Both produce extraordinary experiences, but only one increases the likelihood of being able to try again another time. A trapeze artist with a personality predisposed to taking extraordinary risks without a net may be the star attraction in an otherwise mediocre show. But if he dies or leaves for another circus, then what? This is the paradigm in which someone is motivated by self gain, regardless of the consequences or the benefits to the organization for which he or she works. In such a case, the effort may be good for the individual and it may be good for the group, but the benefits, especially for the group, come with a time limit. Over time, this system will break down, often to the detriment of the organization. Developing trust to encourage people other than those with a predilection for the risk, like Nick Leeson, is a better long term strategy. Great organizations become great because the people inside the organization feel protected. The strong sense of culture creates a sense of belonging and acts like a net. People come to work knowing that their bosses, colleagues, and the organization as a whole will look out for them. This results in reciprocal behavior, individual decisions, efforts, and behaviors that support benefit, and protect the long-term interest of the organization as a whole. Southwest Airlines, a company renowned for its customer focus, does not, as a matter of policy, believe the customer is always right. Southwest will not tolerate customers who abuse their staff. They would rather those customers fly on a different airline. It is a subtle irony that one of the best customer service companies in the country focuses on its employees before its customers. The trust between the management and the employees, not dogma, is what produces the great customer service. It is a prerequisite, then, for someone to trust the culture in which they work, to share the values and beliefs of that culture. Without it, that employee, for example, is simply a bad fit and likely to work only for self gain without consideration for the greater good. But if those inside the organization are a good fit, the opportunity to go the extra mile, to explore, to invent, to innovate, to advance, and more importantly, to do so again and again and again increases dramatically. Only with mutual trust can an organization become great. Yeah, yes, we have to read further as it's
Uh,
7:45.
7:45, but okay, 1 minute. Pages 123.
I think let's finish the chapter if possible because we will be on a break for 4 days now. No?
Uh, Still 131. I think it will take another 20-25 minutes to complete. Around 132. Around 9 pages are remaining.
Yeah, we can discuss a little less today, na? Instead, like, is that okay? Like, let's go with everyone, what everyone feels.
Yeah, yeah, for me it's okay. Others may tell.
Yeah, then we can, I think, till 8 o'clock we can read
I
it.
am also.
Hope everyone. That's great. Super. Let's continue. Okay. Anybody else want to read? Someone is continuing. Okay. Suman, please you continue. And whenever you want to stop, you can stop. I can continue from there.
Yeah, sure.
And those who want to read, please you type your name in the chat section. So please you go ahead and stop wherever you want. I will continue from there.
Sure.
Thank you.
Real trust comes from the things you can't see. Rambo 2 said the voice over a Brigadier General Jumper's radio, referring to him by his call sign. Your group 180, 25 miles, closing fast. Barnyard radar contact replied Rambo 2, reporting that he had picked up the enemy group on his own radar. A one-star general, John Jumper, was an experienced F-15 pilot with thousands of hours of flight time and over 1,000 combat hours. By all measures, he was one of the best born in Paris, Texas. He had enjoyed a distinguished career. He had flown just about everything the US Air Force had, from cargo planes to fighter jets. Decorated and distinguished, the commander of his own combat wing, he was the embodiment of what it meant to be a fighter pilot, smart and confident. But on that day, Jumper's reaction did not match the situation he faced. By 25 miles, he would have been expected to fire his weapons or take some other offensive movement. Fearing that, Jumper was locked onto the wrong contact on his radar. Captain Lori Robinson calmly repeated what she could see from miles away. Rambo 2 confirmed radar contact Your group now won 90-20 miles. As the air weapons controller who was watching the action on her radar screen from a nearby command and control center, it was Lori Robinson's job to direct the pilot toward enemy aircraft so that he could use his weapons to intercept and destroy them. Unlike an air traffic controller, whose job it is to keep air traffic apart, the weapons controller has to bring the planes closer together. From the vantage point of the radar screen, only the weapons controller has the eyes and ears for the pilots who were hurtling into harm's way at 1500 mph. Captain Robinson knew why her job was important. She saw herself as responsible for clearing a path for the pilots in her care so that they could do what they needed to do, so they could push themselves and their aircraft further with greater confidence. And for this reason, she was unusually good at her job. Robinson could not make mistakes. If she did, she would lose the trust of her pilots, and worse, they would lose trust in themselves. You see, it is confidence that makes fighter pilots so good at their jobs. And then it happened. Captain Robinson could tell from the scroll up, please.
Hold up. I don't know. Can you see
Yes, yes, but scroll up more.
Captain Robinson?
Yes,
Yeah.
and then it happened. Captain Robinson could tell from the calm of Jumper's voice over the radio that he was unaware of the threat coming at him. On a cloudless day, 20,000 feet over the desert, the alarm screeched in Rambo's second two's $25 million state-of-the-art fighter jet. He looked up from his radar screen and saw the enemy engaging him. Break right, he screamed into his radio. On October 9, 1988, Brigadier General John R. Jumper was killed. Captain Robinson waited. There was an eerie calm. Before too long, Jumper stormed into the debriefing room at Nellis Air Force Base. You got me killed, he barked at Captain Robinson. Situated in the Nevada desert, Nellis is home to the Air Force Fighter Weapons School. And on that day, General John Jumper took a direct hit from a simulated missile from another US Air Force jet playing the part of an enemy combatant. Sir, it was not my fault, Captain Robinson replied calmly. Check the video. You will see. General Jumper, then the 57th Wing Commander, a graduate of the USAF Fighter Weapons School and a former instructor at Nellis, routinely evaluated every detail of every training mission he flew. Pilots often relied on the video to learn from their exercises. The video did not lie, and it did not on that day either. It revealed that the error was indeed his, not Captain Robinson's. It was a classic blunder. He had forgotten he was part of a team. He had forgotten that what made him so good at his job was not just his ability. Jumper was one of the best because there were others who were looking out for him. A massive infrastructure of people he could not see. Without question, General Jumper had been given the best equipment, the best technology, and the best training that money could buy. But it was the mechanics, the teachers, his fellow pilots, the culture of the Air Force, and Captain Robinson who ensured that he could trust himself to get the job done. General Jumper forgot why he was so good and made a split-second decision that cost him his life. But this is what training is for, to learn these lessons. Some 16 years after his lesson over the Nevada desert, General Jumper went on to big things. Now a retired four-star general, he served as a chief of staff of the US Air Force from 2001 to 2005, the highest ranking uniformed office in the entire Air Force, responsible for the organization, training, and equipping of nearly 700,000 active duty, Guard Reserve, and civilian forces serving in the United States and overseas. As a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he, along with the other service chiefs, advised the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Council, and the President. This is not, however, a story about General Jumper. It is a story about Lori Robinson, now herself a brigadier general in the Air Force. She no longer has her face down a scope. There are no more bogies and bandits, the Air Force nicknames for the good guys and the bad guys in her life. Even though her job has changed, General Robinson still starts every day reminding herself why she came to work. As much as she misses her kids, as she called those who served under her command, General Robinson is still looking for ways she can clear a path for others so that they can push themselves and the organization further. The time to think of yourself is done. It is not about you, it is about the lieutenants behind you. She would remind her students when she was an instructor at the fighter weapons school. If enough of us do this, she goes on, referring to why she does what she does, then we leave this military and this country in better shape than we found it. And isn't that the point? And it is that sense of purpose, a clear idea of why she comes to work, that has been the cornerstone of General Robinson's success, and that incidentally has been remarkable. Working hard to clear a path for others so that they can confidently go on to do bigger and better things has in turn inspired others to clear a path for General Robinson to do exactly the same thing. As a woman in the very masculine world of the military, she sets an example for how to lead. Great leadership is not about flexing and intimidation. Great leaders, as General Robinson proves, scroll up, lead with why. They embody a sense of purpose that inspires those around them. General Robinson was so trusted as a weapons controller that it was not unusual for pilots in training to request that she be assigned to them. The greatest compliment I ever got was when people would say, when I go to war, I want Lori on the radio. She says she is the first woman in the history of the Air Force to command the 552nd Air Control Wing out of Tinker Air Force Base, one of the largest wings in Air Combat Command. The wing that flies the AWACS airborne control aircraft, the fleeting of Boeing 707s with the huge rotating radar dishes on top. She is the first commander of a combat wing ever who did not come up through the pilot ranks. She was the first female weapons school instructor to teach at the Air Force Fighter Weapons School, where the Air Force trains all its top guns. There she became the most celebrated teacher in the ranks, winning Best Teacher 7 classes in a row. She is the first female director of the Secretary of the Air Force and Chief of Staff of the Air Force Executive Action Group. In 2000, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said of General Robinson, at the time still a captain, that she singularly influenced his ideas on air power, and the list goes on. By any measure, General Laurie Robinson is a remarkable leader. Some in management positions operate as if they are in a tree of monkeys. They make sure that everyone at the top of the tree looking down sees only smiles. But all too often, those at the bottom looking up see only as is. Great leaders like General Robinson are respected by those both above and below. Those in her command trust her implicitly because they know she is committed to looking after them. There is nothing you can do that I can't fix. She was often heard telling students at fighter weapons school, and those to whom she reports show remarkable deference to her. I don't know how she gets away with half the stuff she does. Say, those who know her. More importantly, it is said with a grin and with respect. General Robinson's ability to lead developed not because she is the smartest and the nicest. She is a great leader because she understands that earning the trust of an organization doesn't come from setting out to impress everyone. It comes from setting out to serve those who serve her. It is the invisible trust that gives a leader the following they need to get things done. And in Laurie Robinson's case, things get done. I use the military because it exaggerates the point. Trust matters. Trust comes from being a part of a culture or organization with a common set of values and beliefs. Trust is maintained when the values and beliefs are actively managed. If companies do not actively work to keep their golden circle in balance, clarity, discipline, and consistency, then trust starts to break down. A company, indeed any organization, must work actively to remind everyone the company exists, why the company exists, why it was founded in the first place, what it believes. They need to hold everyone in the company accountable to the values and guiding principles. It is not enough to just write them on the wall. That is passive. Bonuses and incentives must revolve around them. The company must serve those whom they wish to serve it with
Sean, do
balance.
you want to continue or do you want to
Yes,
transfer? I think you have been
yes, if
leading a
anybody
lot.
wants to, please. Yeah, yeah,
No, no, I think
yeah,
nobody. I think I can continue. The remaining,
yeah,
I think around we have two pages more. I'll continue.
yeah,
Thank you so much,
yeah,
Suman,
please.
for the
Thank
long
you,
read.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. With balance, those who are good fits can trust that everyone is on board for the same reasons. It's also the only way that each individual in the system can trust that others are acting to leave the organization in a better way than we found it. To quote General Robinson again, this is the root of passion. Passion comes from feeling like you are a part of something that you believe in, something bigger than yourself. If people Do not trust that a company is organized to advance the why, then the passion is diluted. Without managed trust, people will show up to do their jobs and they will worry primarily about themselves. This is the root of office politics. People acting within the system for self gain, often at the expense of others, even the company. If a company doesn't manage trust, then those working for it will not trust the company, and self-interest becomes the overwhelming motivation. This may be this may be good for short term. Over time, organization will get weaker and weaker. Herb Keller, the visionary behind Southwest Airlines, understood this better than most. He recognized that to get the best out his employees, he needed to create an environment in which they felt like the company cared about them. He knew that they would naturally excel if they felt the work they did made difference. When a journalist asked Keller who comes first to him, his shareholders or his employees, his response was Pepsi at the time and to a large degree still is. Well, that's it, he said. Employees come first, and if employees are treated right, they treat the outside world right. The outside world uses the company's product again, and that makes the shareholders happy. Really is the way that it works, and it's not a conundrum at all. The case of others. Whom do you trust more? Someone you know or someone you don't know? What do you trust more? A crime paid a piece of advertising or a recommendation from a friend? Whom do you trust more? The waiter who tells everything on the menu is great or the waiter who tells you to avoid the chicken casserole? Are these questions too easy? Then how about this? Why should anyone trust you? Personal recommendations go a long way. We trust the judgment of others. It's part of the fabric of strong cultures. But we don't trust the judgment of just anyone. We are more likely to trust those who share our values and beliefs. We believe someone has the best intent in mind because it is in their benefit to do so. The whole benefits. The advancements of societies were based a great deal on the trust between those with a common set of values and beliefs. The feeling of trust is locked squarely in the same place as the why, the limbic brain, and it's often powerful enough to ramp in critical this when it is stressed out. This is the reason why so many manipulations are effective. We believe that for better or
I'm not able to hear Rajesh. Is everyone able to hear him?
No, no,
Oh,
not able to hear. The screen is also gone.
oh, I think he's left. He's gone. He's disconnected.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I think I don't know what to do. Let's stop then, I guess. Let's open up for discussion. Like we'll have a 5 minute discussion. Hi, Rajesh. Oh, we were thinking maybe you won't join. You're having some network issue or something. What to do? We lost you. We were not able to
See,
hear you also for a while. Hello.
yeah, he's sharing the screen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. We can't see it.
hello, hello.
Yes, yes. We can hear you, but the screen is getting loaded. At least for me. I don't know about others.
Yes, yes, same here.
Okay. How many pages left? Otherwise,
I think one to remain more.
okay. Sorry, we're getting a little late today as we insisted upon finishing the chapter. Yeah. Yeah, we can see now. We can see. You want any one of us to read, Rajesh? I can also read if you want
You
me
feel
to.
disturbed.
Yeah. Yeah, since there is a disturbance at your end, I'm just asking.
I can also go on if you
Then
want, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. Rajesh, your voice is breaking. Hello? We can't hear you.
Mansi, please, please, Mansi, please.
Okay, you go on, I think. Yeah, you can let us finish fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone wants to read, please? Yes,
Yeah,
Suman,
Suman,
you
I
can.
think want to.
The feeling.
Your voice is
Uh,
breaking, Rajesh. I think let Suman read.
okay, should I start?
Yeah, yeah, go on, go on.
The feeling of trust is lodged squarely in the same place as the why, the limbic brain, and it is often powerful enough to trump empirical research or at least seed doubt. This is the reason why so many manipulations are effective. We believe that for better or worse, others know more than we do. Clearly, 4 out of 5 dentists know more than us when choosing. Yeah, screen is gone again. Clearly, 4 are. Yeah, it's gone again. Clearly, 4 out of 5 dentists know more than us when choosing chewing gum. But what about the one holdout? What did he know that the others did not? Of course, we trust the celebrity endorsement. Those celebrities are rich and can use any product they want. It must be good if they are putting their reputation on the line to promote it, right? You probably answered that question in your head already. Clearly, they are endorsing the product because they are getting paid to. But if celebrity endorsements did not work, companies would not use them. Or perhaps it is the fear that they might work that fuels the $1 million wink and a smile that encourages us to choose one car over another or one lipstick over another. The fact is, none of us is immune to the effect of someone we know or feel like we trust influencing our decisions. Celebrity endorsements are used with this concept in mind. By using a recognizable face or name, So the assumption goes, people will more likely trust the claims being made. The flaw in this assumption is that celebrity status alone may work to influence behavior, but at this level, it is just peer pressure. For it to work, the celebrity needs to represent some clear cause or belief. An athlete known for her work ethic may have some value to a company with the same belief, for example, or an actor known for his charitable work would be good fit for a company known for doing good. In these cases, it is clear that both the company and the celebrity are working together to advance the same cause. I recently saw an ad for TD Ameritrade that featured morning show hosts Regis Philbin and Kelly Ripa. I am still trying to figure out the cause that two talk show hosts represent and how that matters when it comes to choosing one bank over another. When a company says that a celebrity represents the kind of qualities we want our customers to associate with us, they miss the point. The celebrity is another what to the company's why. The celebrity must embody the qualities that already exist at the company. Without clarity of why first, any benefit will amount to simply increasing recognition. So many decisions and indeed contract negotiations are based on an advertising industry measurement called a Q score, a quotient of how well recognized a celebrity is, how famous they are, so to speak. The higher the score, the better the unaided awareness of the celebrity. This information alone is not enough. The clearer the spokesperson's own why is understood, the better ambassador they can be for a like-minded brand or company. But there is no measurement of a celebrity's why currently available. So the result is obvious. The value of too many celebrity endorsements is the celebrity appeal alone. Unless the audience to which you are trying to appeal gets a sense of what that spokesperson believes, unless the spokesperson is one of us, the enforcement may drive recognition. It may even drive sales for the short term, but it will fail to build trust. A trusted recommendation is powerful enough to trump facts and figures and even multi-million dollar marketing budgets. Think of the young father who wants to do everything right for his newborn child. He decides he's going to get a new car, something safe, something to protect his child. He spends a week reading all the magazines and reports. He has seen all the advertising and decides that on Saturday he is buying a Volvo. The facts are in and his mind is made up. Friday night, he and his wife head to a dinner party. Standing by the punch bowl is their friend, the local car enthusiast. Our intrepid new father walks up to his friend and proudly announces that as a new father, he has decided to buy a Volvo. Without a thought, his friend replies, "Why would you do that? Mercedes is the safest car on the road. If you care about your kid, you will get a Mercedes." Playing on his desires to be a good father, but also trusting his friend's opinion, one of the three things will happen. Our young father will either change his mind and buy a Mercedes, he will go forward with his original decision, but not without some doubt about whether he is indeed doing the right thing, or he will go back to the drawing board to redo all the research in order to reassure himself of his decision. No matter how much rational information he has at his fingertips. Unless that decision also feels right, stress will go up and confidence will go down. However, you slice it, the opinions of others matter, and the opinions of those we trust matter most. The question is not how should car companies talk to the father who bought the car. The question is not even how they court the highly influential opinion of his friend, the car guy. The concept of buyers and influencers is not a new one. The question is, how do you get enough of the influencers to talk about you so that you can make the system tip? Yeah, it's over.
Okay, so we are finally done with the chapter. Yeah. Rajesh, you had some network issue, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. We can open up for a quick discussion and then Rajesh, you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm there.
Okay. Yeah. You can take over. You can take
Yeah,
over.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Mansi, for sharing the screen. My sincere apologies, team. I have some network problem which interrupts our reading in between. Thank you so much for your patience and your support. Okay, I think those who want to share something about today's reading, we can have. I think each can take 1 to 2 minutes max. If you want to share something about the today's reading, please you share it. Then we can quickly we can wind up for today's session. Who wants to go fast? Okay, I would like to share one point. I think here when we started reading in the beginning, again now in this chapter, the author briefly explained about the Wright brothers and the competitor, what is the purpose and where it is driven, why where there is a why part is very strong, that made to ambition, they made to able to success or able to achieve. And the other one, those who want to the fame, those who want to name and popularity and money, that finally end up with something the person's not able to accept that situation, or that I think they consider this as a failure. Even though the other person found this, even the person has a lot of scope to make it improve, but not willing to.
I think he again lost. We lost him because of the network. Okay. Okay, we'll
Yeah.
continue. So meanwhile, anyone wants to share something? Please go on. Yeah. Yes. Suman, Manishji, Viren, anyone?
Basically, today's chapter was about the trust, that trust culture that the companies should maintain. Because if the employees they feel safe in the organization, then they innovate also, they create also, and they take risks also. Like the example of the neighborhood was
True.
also given, that we leave our children to those neighbors in comparison to the unknowns, because we feel that we know them and our child is safe with them.
True. Yes. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone
Yeah.
else or anything else? Yeah, Rajesh. Rajesh is here.
Sorry again. I don't know. I think, okay. Um, and one more thing I observed in today's reading, the leaders, the environment. So far, I think we have. I think the leaders should know everything. I think today reading, that's one point. The leaders is not knowing everything. That leaders should create that environment. Then the people are the employees, those who are in the meeting, the strong, the super brains, they can make it to the next level. That is what that experience, right? I think the leaders must not know that everything. We have to create a culture, create environment for everyone to give, think freely, speak freely, and work freely. That makes the organization's difference. That is what we read in that the flight and Apple and the other innovative companies. I think that is one important takeaway from reading today's reading. Even that Mansi also read that line twice. The environment, the leaders creating environment to make a better outcome for the employees. Yeah, that is one big takeaway
I
for
remember.
today's reading session for me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Even I love that line.
Anyone?
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think it is really a different perspective. Sometimes we expect leader knows everything, or the leaders know, I think, how to explain and should know about everything. That's not a that's not a case. Leaders should be able to motivate and give the great space to employees. Then the companies will run. I think that is organizations. Not only in organizations, it applies families as well. When we trust them, when we give them freedom, that will create a thing among family members. This is a joint family that we have. That is the trust is playing a major role. It is the family as well as the business. Okay, I think I don't want to take more time. I think thank you so much for your patience for the extra 20 minutes today. We extended. Viren, Manishji, would you like to share something?
Yeah, I want to share one more thing. This is about the limbic system in the brain. See, actually, I have worked in the corporate world also, and sometime when we were new in the industry, we were always fear of something that I should not do that, and maybe what will happen and things like that. So the point is, yeah, when we talk about the trust factor, the company that believes in like giving employees the opportunity to be flexible with their innovation, research work, and things. The point is the company and the culture. The team is willing to support each other in every possible way to bring the best out of you. So one should have that trust in the company, in the culture. So when that happens, your limbic system is a brain structure which is influenced by emotions, fear, danger, and things like that. So when you are completely in a very positive state, you know that you're doing something with your best intention, and the company is willing to support you, right? Well, you might fail sometimes, but this is how you bring out the best out of you. Like, you cannot score with every ball, right? Just like that. But if the culture is like that, the company is willing to support you, like try your best, and the people are there to support you in every possible way. So what will happen is, it will bring the best of out of you, because you will be in a very positive state by emotions, your passion, motivation, and how your memory structure works. So that's the author mentioned about the limbic system. So it's all about, when we know that, okay, we are in safe hands, right? So we can do our best without any hesitation and without any fear, because fear is something that stops your doing your best, right? But if we do that with consistently, with passion, with a complete trust system, I think that brings the best out of you. So I think that's a very important concept. Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Manishji, for sharing. Mansi, would you like to share something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that that point where they highlighted that how the why of Wright brothers and Lanley was so different. So he was only interested in his own fame and all of that, and that's how when he quit, and that's how the Wright brothers like still kept going in spite of no recognition or nothing of that sort, because they had a deeper why. They wanted to think from the community's perspective and all of that. So what struck me while we were reading that is that sometimes it's very difficult to identify the real why also. Sometimes we feel this is our why and that is good enough, like we want to bring that prestige, that good, whatever good for our families. We want to earn money for that and all of those. So we feel that this is a good enough why, and sometimes that's good enough as well. But I what I felt is this is very difficult to identify if your why is in the right direction or not, and also to understand how good it is from the larger good, larger audiences good, or larger communities wellness or things like that. So, and I feel even I feel we are supported by the universe also when we have a larger cause. So when people have a bigger cause, I think they are more supported, because I truly believe in this, that we are all co-creating. It's not just us. We are co-creating with the divine, and it really helps when we have a very pure intention, and when we don't have any selfish or any self-related motives, like under so we also read in that book Power of Intention, right? Like our intention makes a lot of difference of what we are doing and why we are doing something. So that is what just highlight, like just came to my mind while we were reading that point. So that's how Lanley was not supported, because his intentions were only for his self, this thing. And Wright brothers were supported because they had no other hidden intentions, but just to create it for the sake of creation. So yeah, that's what just came to my mind. Yeah. Anything else anyone would want to highlight or add from the chapter or anything?
Yeah.
Actually, on the same line, Mansi, I want to
So,
add that sometime when we focus too much on the outcome, right? So we become which we sometime uh, what I will say. Sometimes we miss something on the course basically. But when we just when we live life, I'm doing my best. Like I'm not worried about the outcome. So when you are not worried about the outcome, you are free from stress. You're free from danger. You're free from fear. You're free of impressing anybody. So you basically you flow like a water or air. I will say you are unstoppable. So I think one should focus on doing your best, not focus on the outcome. Because if I'm doing my best, the outcome will come anyway, right? No, nothing will stop me. It might come for some, it might come early. For some people, it might come late, but it will definitely come, because this is how the how the system works. So basically,
Yeah. It's also the
yeah,
like
basically,
karm kar phal ki asha na kar from Bhagavad Gita also says the same thing, right? Like don't depend on
yesterday
the
I was reading
outcome.
somewhere.
But sometimes people give up in this attempt of not depending on the outcome. That's not how it is. It's maybe what they, as the Lanley, as because his intentions were different, he could give up because it he was not interested when it he did not get the fame he desired. So
Because
so
you
I think that that thin line is very important to know.
I will say the bigger divine energy, right? So basically, you have to, like from the spiritual point of view, live life like a dance, like a party. You don't have to worry too much on the outcome. You have to just do your job consistently. And one more thing on the same line is, a lot of intelligent people don't become like IITians or something. They don't become very successful business because they are intelligent, but they are not consistent. Because sometimes they want success very early, but it doesn't happen. So in that case, your discipline and your motivation, your discipline gets over your intelligence. So in the long run, discipline is more beneficial, because if you are disciplined in doing something on a consistent basis, right? And anyway, you will get the knowledge and the intelligence down the line, right? If I'm doing something, let's say I'm cooking a meal on a daily basis, right? Some special meal I'm cooking daily. So if I'm doing it for 1 month, I'll get the best. Anyway, I'll be discipline and the consistency. They play a very important role. And yeah, so don't focus on the outcome. Just enjoy the process, but do it on a consistent basis. Be consistent and be disciplined. I think that's very important for me.
yeah. Thanks, Manish ji. Yeah, that's a really important point. You have to focus on the journey, not that outcome. And the discipline and consistency is more important than the result. I think when we concentrate on the discipline and consistency, the result will fall in place. I think there is no doubt about it. But that problem is, I think, are we willing to give that enough time to achieve that? That matters. Are you able to wait the time to get the result? Thank you so much for joining us today's leading, and thank you so much for patience, and thank you so much for your support. I have a lot of glitches, network glitches, and reconnects, network problems. You bear with me and supported me till that the entire reading process, and we completed the chapter 6. Then let's take a small break, and then we can start from that Monday onwards from the new chapter. So I have shared all these readings for the last 6 days, and today's reading also I will share it. Please you revisit. You can go through that summary and whatever we have read from this book. Thank you so much for joining us, and make this wonderful day. Wishing you all the very best for that Navaratri wishes to you and family members. We can, especially we can start again from next coming Monday onwards. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you everyone. Thank you, Rajesh. Just happy Dasra to everyone for tomorrow in advance. And one more thing, I just want to add like one line before we leave, like just that in alignment with what we were talking. So there is this beautiful line by uh, one of the lady I know, I follow. The line is her name is Gabrielle Bernstein, and she says this. She's a spiritual coach or something, and she says this: those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait, and they can afford to wait without getting anxious. So it is in alignment with what we were just talking. So just shared that. So yeah. So it's like we know, right? We are certain about something in spite of even if it's taking time or things are not working, we know it is going to happen. It's like that. It's from that perspective. It's like it's the line about ultimate surrender. So yeah, just thought of it, so shared.
Yeah.
So thank you,
So,
Rajesh. Thank you, everyone. See you. We'll catch up on Monday.
same line I want to share. The Henry Ford, right, who invented the motor vehicle, right? So he says, if you believe in something, you are right. If you don't believe in that, you are still right. That is the bottom line. So it's all about your belief system.
Thank you, everyone. With this, let's come to end of today's meeting.
Yeah, thank you,
Have a
Rajesh.
great
Thank you,
day.
everyone.
See you all Monday. Thank you. Bye.